So the next thing we're going to talk about are perks. You can look at these, but they would just be anything outside of, your salary, commission, bonus, sales contest. So a lot of very common perks for outside sales include some kind of car or allowance for a car, phone, oftentimes internet, a computer or tablet, and sometimes some kind of office setup if you're going to have a home office. So sometimes you'll get an allowance for like, let's say $2,000 to get furniture and printer and all you need for a home office. Um, Other benefits are medical, dental, FSA. So let's talk about each of these. General options for medical is, in general, you're going to have either a PPO or an HMO. And you are probably like, I don't, maybe you already know about these. If you do, great, skip ahead. For those of you that don't, I'm just offering this information because these are things that oftentimes we don't think about. And when you get a job, oftentimes they'll say like your total salary package is worth, I don't know, $300,000 because they're including like your health insurance and dental, etc. But these are things to think about, and they both work for different people based off of what your current situation is, and your health. So just things to think about. And I won't go through this with you, but I did want to provide this for you as a resource, to just consider the different aspects. So let's also talk about an FSA. An FSA is a flexible spending account. And basically, generally, there's a limit on how much you can contribute. And it's going to depend on whether you are just insuring yourself or you have other dependents. But with a flexible spending account, you get money taken out of your salary pre-tax and put in this account, and it can be used for medical expenses. So let's say that I know in the coming year I'm going to get LASIK surgery. So I might want, let's just say $2,000 in my FSA. Let's say that's the max I can put in. I maybe want to max that out. So they'll divide that by 12 or however often you get paid. And then you will use the FSA. Oftentimes it looks like a debit or credit card, or you pay for it, submit receipts, and they pay you back. So essentially, you can save ahead of time and save, month or every 2 weeks. But the other thing is, if you noticed, I said your pre-tax income. So it drives down your taxable income. So you pay less taxes. So that's the other thing that is something to consider. So with retirement and savings, oftentimes you'll have a 401k most of the time. Very rarely do I see pensions anymore, but if you get a pension, awesome. Sometimes you get compensation in the form of stock options, and then you can cash in those options for stock, and then you can sell off the stock and get cash. A big thing that most companies do, though, is company matching. And so that would be in relation to your 401k. And so how that would look, is that, let's say your company will match 3%. This is a very common one I see. 3% for your first 3%, or 1%. Okay, 100% back up. 100% for your first 3% and 50% for the next 3%. So what that would mean is if I contributed 6% of my income to my 401k, my company would match 4.5%. So I would get 10.5% of my income. So that's a really good option. If you can contribute to your 401k, I absolutely would. And if you have a company matching, I would try to get that full amount. Often they match in stock, and then that stock is sold off like in the 401k. And I'm going to go down a rabbit hole and confuse you. Anyway, company matching is wonderful. Try to take advantage of that. One thing to note about company matching, that 4.5% is not fully yours until you're fully vested. So generally there's a vesting schedule. What that means is, according to the vesting schedule, however long you work at the company, then that amount, let's say at 1 year, I'm 30% vested. At 2 years, I'm 60, 3, 90, 4, 100%. So that 4.5% that I was getting, if I leave the company after 1 year, I'm only going to get to keep 30% of that. So I would need to stay with the company 4 years to get 100% of that company match. So just things to consider when you're looking at benefit packages. I would try to save at least 3 months income for emergencies. Other considerations and recommendations, renting versus buying. Be careful just with mortgages, and they've gotten better about this, lenders have, of not overbuying, because a lot of times they look at your pre-tax income. That's not your take-home income. Look at your take-home income when you're purchasing, because you don't want to be house poor. So you have a nice house, but there's so much maintenance and other things that go into it. I've been a homeowner and I've rented, and there's pros and cons to each one. Just, you have to think about your particular situation, how long you're going to be in an area, etc. Other general recommendations, and this is just my little input for you as you're looking for a job and going into maybe your first, like, more career type job. Mistakes are okay. Well, unless it's a major mistake, and it has some huge consequence, but little mistakes are okay. You want to ask for feedback so you know if you're making mistakes, because you don't want something that's a small mistake to continue and become a larger mistake. Always be on the outlook for more opportunities, ways to learn, grow within the company. That bodes very well for you, and especially if you're looking to move around within the company or move up, you always want to be looking for opportunities and asking for feedback. So the last piece, and this article is on D2L, is I just found a really good article about budgeting with irregular income. So if you have a salary plus commission or bonus, but really commission, you will have your regular income. And so this article just is really good about helping you see, like, how to budget when you have varying income from your compensation plan. So I recommend it, not required, not going to test you on it. but it's just there as a resource for you.